Have you ever watched your own life burn down and realized you were the one holding the match? The air in our living room was thick with the scent of Jenna's expensive perfume and unspoken lies. She was staring out the window, a smug little smile playing on her lips as the moving truck next door pulled away. Such a shame the Millers had to leave so suddenly, she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. I just watched her, my heart a cold, heavy stone in my chest. She turned to me, her eyes sparkling. Wonder what happened? I let the silence hang for a moment, enjoying the last seconds of her blissful ignorance before I shattered it forever. I looked her dead in the eye and said, I know exactly what happened. Jenna, and so do you. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It all started 8 months ago at our annual neighborhood block party on North Southport Avenue. I was manning the grill, flipping burgers, feeling like the king of my little suburban castle. Jenna was mingling, a champagne flute in her hand, looking absolutely radiant. I caught her laughing with our new neighbor, Mark Miller. He'd just moved in with his family a few months prior. There was nothing overtly wrong, just a flicker of something in her eyes, a way she leaned in a little too close. I brushed it off. I trusted her. That was my first mistake. The humiliation came in small doses. It started with jokes at my expense. Mark would be over for a beer, and he'd make a crack about my golf swing or my taste in music. Jenna would laugh a little too loudly. Then it was more direct. I remember one evening the three of us were on the patio, and Mark casually mentioned a new restaurant, Sepia, downtown on West Randolph Street. He said, You should take Jenna sometime, man. She loves that kind of place. I agreed, but I'd never heard of it. The next week, I found a receipt from Sepia in her purse, dated 2 nights before, for a table for 2. When I asked her, she said she went with her friend Sarah. A quick call to Sarah confirmed she was out of town that entire week. The lies were starting to pile up. Her behavior grew stranger. She started guarding her phone like it was a state secret. Late-night texts would come in, and she'd quickly flip the screen over, claiming it was just her mom. There were late nights at the office that didn't add up, and sudden weekend girls' trips I wasn't invited to. Receipts for things I never saw appeared. Lingerie from a store she never shopped at, a charge from the Thompson Chicago Hotel in the Gold Coast. I was living with a ghost, a stranger who looked like my wife but felt like a cold front moving in. One night, her phone buzzed on the nightstand while she was in the shower. A message preview popped up from Mark M. It read, Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. My world tilted on its axis. It wasn't just a suspicion anymore. It was real. I scrolled through months of deleted messages I managed to recover with a software I found online. The flirtatious texts, the plans to meet, the pictures. It was all there. A digital diary of my wife's betrayal with the man who lived 50 feet away. When I started to pull away to question her, she turned into someone I didn't recognize. The warmth was gone, replaced by a chilling, manipulative coldness. Are you checking up on me? Why are you so insecure all of a sudden? She'd spit, turning my pain into an attack on my character. She made me feel like I was the crazy one. She and Mark became bolder, more arrogant. They'd stand in his driveway talking, and he'd put his hand on the small of her back right in front of me, a smug look on his face. They thought they were untouchable, that I was too weak, too pathetic to do anything about it. They were enjoying my torment. They were feeding on it. The breaking point came one Saturday. Came home early from a fishing trip. I decut short because I couldn't stop my hands from shaking. As I pulled onto our street, I saw Mark's car parked a block away, not in his own driveway. I walked into my own home, and heard them. Laughter from our bedroom. I stood outside the door, my heart pounding in my ears, a roar of white noise drowning out everything else. I just collapsed right there in the hallway, pressing my forehead against the cool drywall. I didn't confront them. I didn't scream. I just broke. I sat there on the floor, invisible in my own house, and cried until I had nothing left. And in that emptiness, something new and hard began to form. Rage. That was the night the old me died. The next morning, I was a different man. I started my secret war. I put a voice-activated recorder under the driver's seat of her car. I installed a keylogger on our home computer. I documented everything. Every late-night call, every coded text message, every credit card statement showing a hotel room or a secret dinner. I hired a private investigator who got me photos. Photos of them kissing outside the Langham Hotel, holding hands, walking through Millennium Park, entering a by-the-hour motel on the outskirts of the city. I was building an arsenal of truth, each piece of evidence a nail for the coffins I was preparing. My plan had two parts, legal and social. For the legal part, I took my mountain of evidence to the best divorce attorney in Chicago. We drafted the divorce papers, citing the infidelity clause in our prenup. Her affair would mean she'd walk away with nothing. Not the house, not a dime of my savings, nothing. The attorney just smiled. He said it was the most ironclad case he'd ever seen. For the social part, that was my masterpiece. I created a private website, a simple, clean, password-protected site. And on that site, I uploaded everything. The text messages, the audio recordings from her car where she and Mark planned their getaways and mocked me, the photos from the PI, the hotel receipts, every single sordid detail. The day of reckoning was our 10th anniversary party. We had it at our house, the one she thought she would get in the divorce. All our friends, family, and neighbors were there. Even Mark and his wife Sarah were there. Jenna was glowing, playing the part of the perfect wife. Halfway through the party, I stood up to make a toast. Everyone quieted down. I raised my glass. To my beautiful wife, Jenna, I began, my voice steady. 10 years, a decade of memories. Some good, some not so good. In fact, I've put together a little trip down memory lane for all of us to enjoy. Then I turned to the big screen TV on the wall. The password is loyalty, by the way, I said, looking right at Jenna as the website loaded. The room went silent. The first thing that appeared was a high-resolution photo of Jenna and Mark locked in a passionate kiss. A collective gasp filled the air. Sarah, Mark's wife, let out a choked sob. I let the slideshow play. Texts, photos, audio clips of them whispering about their future together after I was out of the picture. Jenna's face went from pale to ghostly white. Mark looked like he'd been shot. People started leaving, whispering, staring at them with disgust. Within minutes, the party was over. Jenna was left standing alone in the middle of our living room, surrounded by the ruins of her life. The divorce papers were served the next day. Mark's wife filed a week later. They were both fired from their jobs due to a conduct clause after an anonymous email with the website link was sent to their HR departments. The house they were renting was put up for sale, and they had to leave town in disgrace. And so here we are. The house next door is empty. My house is quiet. Jenna is gone, with nothing but the clothes on her back and a reputation that will follow her forever. I won. I got my revenge. But as I stand here in this silent living room, watching the last of the sunlight fade, I don't feel like a winner. There's no victory in burning down your own home just to kill the rats.